Special Counsel Jack Smith and his prosecutors now disclose they've given Donald Trump a big batch of discovery. These are case files. This is the evidence that they claim they've got against the former president, and it came in the form of a notice to the court. They told the judge, hey, we have delivered a big wheelbarrow full of stuff over to Trump and his defense, and so you are now on notice that we have done that. This is Jack Smith's notice that he has complied with discovery. The case, of course, is United States of America versus Donald Trump and Waltine Nauta. Coming out of the Southern District of Florida, previously Judge Eileen Cannon has issued a protective order and required that the special counsel's office give Trump the case files in a timely manner. And we covered the prior protective order that the judge issued, and the judge said that this was for non-classified materials and that Trump couldn't even be in possession of this stuff. Remember, Trump couldn't even be in possession of the notes about this stuff. So he can look at these case files, take notes about the case files, but all the documents have to be held under lock and key, and Trump doesn't have access to really touch them or even touch his notes. This is what Special Counsel Jack Smith is saying. Not a long filing, but they do give us some details. This one submitted by Jay Bratt, the DOJ lawyer who allegedly threatened another lawyer for Waltine Nauta with losing a potential judgeship, which I'm sure will be an issue as this case proceeds. But here is what Jack Smith and Jay Bratt had to say. They say, all right, Judge, the United States filed this saying we're complying with the rules. On June 21st, you issued a protective order that said that Donald Trump, on June 21st, let me start that again. On June 21st, pursuant to the protective order, the government provided to Donald Trump its first production of unclassified discovery. They're calling it Production 1, right? And this is not the classified discovery or anything that was declassified. It is just unclassified stuff. These files came in a part of 3 batches. The first part includes documents that they obtained via subpoena, evidence obtained via search warrants, transcripts of grand jury testimony, transcripts of grand jury testimony from Florida and DC, and memorialization of witness interviews conducted all the way up through May. As we've informed counsel, Trump's lawyers, it is the government's intent to disclose promptly all witness statements and memorialization of those statements, even if they would not be deemed discoverable under the rules. And Jack Smith wants a speedy trial on this, so we're going to see how quickly his discovery comes out. The second part includes a reproduction of key documents and photographs included in Production 1 that are referenced in the indictment and others determined by the government to be pertinent to the case. The third part, so we've got number 2 and number 3. Third part, copies of closed-circuit CCTV footage obtained by the government in its investigation. To facilitate the review of all the camera footage, the government also identified and separately produced for Trump key excerpts of the footage, including excerpts referenced in the indictment, other determined to be pertinent in the case. The government responds to the specific items identified in the discovery order as set below. So here are some of the details. In 3 bat, no, we've got, all right, here's the discovery filing. They say Production 1 includes a copy of the following items: a recorded statement made by the defendants, a written or recorded statement, interviews of Donald Trump conducted by non-government entities, which were recorded with his consent and obtained by special counsel's office during the investigation of the case, including the July 2021 recorded interview of Trump provided to a publisher and a writer quoted in the part of the indictment. So these might even be media interviews. Yeah, public statements made by Trump, including public statements quoted in the indictment, the May 26 interview of defendant Nauta, which is quoted in the indictment, and the grand jury testimony when Nauta appeared before the grand jury. Other than the 2 statements of Nauta identified in paragraph A1, no relevant oral statements made by either defendant before or after the arrest in response to interrogation, so no post-arrest statements that they're going to use. Trump did not testify before the grand jury, but Walt did, so they've got a part of that transcript in the discovery. The government provided their criminal records, so their criminal history to both of them. This is we know what you've done in the past. Defense counsel can contact the government to arrange for an inspection of unclassified items seized during the raid. The government is not currently aware of any other unclassified books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, buildings, or places within our control which are material to the preparation of the defense, or which the government intends to use, or which were obtained that belong to him. He says there will be additional productions of discovery, and Production 1 does not necessarily include everything, but we'll let you come and inspect whatever you want. In other words, we have some stuff that we're not sure we're going to use. You can come take a look. There were no no physical or mental examinations of any of the defendants, Trump or Walt. They're asking that Trump and his defense also respond. Discovery goes both ways. Both sides have to disclose. So Trump, if he's got expert witnesses or something, right, he's got to disclose that to them. The government is providing Brady material based on what we know. We are giving all of that. The government will disclose any payments or promises of immunity or leniency of any witnesses or anybody involved in this case. We'll also disclose, the government says, any alleged co-conspirators' criminal convictions. So if somebody the government is using against Trump has a bad history, they'll let Trump's team know about it. They say Trump and Walt, they were not identified in any lineups or anything like that, so we're not going to be using that stuff. All rough notes from our team have been communicated to be preserved, saying that we will disclose new evidence and witness statements to you in a timely manner. This first production includes grand jury testimony of witnesses who will testify for the government. So we'll get to know more about the mole at Mar-a-Lago. The government did not seize any contraband, like any drugs, for chemical analysis. The government does not know of any automobiles. The government does not know of any fingerprints that are relevant. The government is not... Fingerprints will be interesting on these documents, especially if we can identify the document that Trump was supposedly waving around. To date, the government has not received a request for disclosure of expert testimony. The government will make good faith efforts to stipulate to facts, and the government demands notices of all of the other filings. Here's our certificate of service signed off on by Julie Edelstein, another prosecutor on the case. So looks like this is just the first batch of stuff, a lot of the basic stuff, and we're going to have a lot of battles over the classified documents. A lot of this I still think is very early, but it is all non-classified, and it's going to be the basic stuff, probably not even a lot of the interesting stuff, because he's not being charged with crimes for unclassified documents. He's being charged with obstruction crimes for obstructing the return of the classified stuff. But we also know there are going to be witnesses listed in here who testified in the grand jury proceedings, but I'm sure that Trump's team already knows who most of these people are. So what is interesting to note from this is that they're moving quickly. Discovery got disclosed very quickly here, and the question will be, how quickly can they continue to move forward? We'll be keeping an eye out for Trump's responses on this and really what Trump's filings will look like. And so we're going to cover this in detail. If you haven't already joined as a member on YouTube or on Locals, we do more regular Trump docket updates because there are smaller filings that aren't necessarily require an entire segment. So come out there and join us, watchingthewatchers.locals.com, because the discovery is going to be a big battle. Trump's team is going to want to see these classified documents. The government's going to say they're not qualified to see them. And then we're going to have battles over what parts of those documents can be redacted and shown to the jurors. And it's just going to be a big, messy battle.